This is your intro for today.
Here we are now. We're on. And welcome from Vapor Central in Toronto. In the heart of Youngsterdam. I'm your host, Mik Mann. Sitting here with the cannabis champion of the world, Matt Mernagh. How you doing, buddy? So good to be here.
Oh, it's awesome to have you here, Mick. It's good to do the Mik Mann show on this side of the country now.
Yeah, we're like Ontario. I hear it's a good place to grow.
It is a wonderful place to grow.
Excellent. Yeah, and we're, both of us are exemptee growers.
Exemptee growers, that's what's going on here.
Yeah, you've been fighting in court to get everybody to be a grower, I guess. Everyone who wants to be, have that right.
Kicking open the access. Medical marijuana. That's what we're up about. Big weekend here in Toronto.
Absolutely. We had, I came out originally for the Global Marijuana March. Our good friend Chris Goodwin got married. There's your court case. Just all kinds of stuff happening.
That's a big marijuana weekend.
Oh, boy, it was. It was a packed weekend. And, we got some footage I'm going to put up for you later.
Excellent.
What I need to do right now is roll a joint.
Wonderful. How many people we got out there?
I don't know. How many people are here? How many people here are regular viewers of Opus Live? All right. We got a couple over here, anyhow. Right on.
We got 122. We got more people watching your show right now than I've ever watched the Marijuana Show.
There you go. Yeah, well, now we're getting up into Marijuana Man's numbers.
People love that guy's show.
Yeah, well, Greg's been around a lot longer.
Than both of us, like...
he got busted with Marc Emery. I mean, he's, the BC3. I mean, there's,
He's A-list for sure.
Absolutely.
People tune into that guy's show.
Oh, well, Marijuana Man brings you From Under the Influence on Pod TV Wednesdays at 4 o'clock Pacific time. So 7 here. Yeah. You can turn in and catch Greg. He's awesome. I've known Greg from 2001. We were running in the BC Marijuana Party. Happy to say only the second time in British Columbia in the history of politics that a full slate of candidates were run on a brand new party.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, are you going to cut the music or what?
Thanks for the musical intro. It was awesome. Nothing like stretching that one out. It was good. I enjoyed that.
We're all about the production value here.
I brought a whole lot of weed with me today from British Columbia. It's Burmese that I grow. Hey, Dana Larson's in the crowd. Yo, Dana.
He's also smoking the BC weed.
He put on a great, a couple of years ago, put on an excellent competition, the Amsterdam game, or what was it? The Amsterdam Games in Ganja Bowl? Something like that. It was a great little event that people actually participated in the Olympics.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you ever entered a competition for your own weed, computer?
Well, there was in that. Yeah, I took third place with the Burmese.
Oh, wonderful.
So, okay. Yeah, I don't know, 200 some odd people who paid. I don't know how much.
But they judged those 200 plus people
over a period of 4 days festival. So much like the Tokers Bowls that Mark and Michelle put on.
So you came up third.
Yeah, I've been in 3 Tokers Bowls. I've always placed in the top 10. The last Tokers Bowl, I placed 4th. You understand?
What did you taste 4th with? The Burmese?
No, I had Island Sweet Skunk. Yeah, of course.
Nice.
And that one was the difference between 4th place and actually from 5th place to 1st place was a matter of about, I think, 7 points. So all the pot that was there at that contest was extremely high-end marijuana, very, very close. So
that's one of those ones where you got to whip your vote. Vote for me, damn it!
Well, and it's funny because all the big growers were doing that, and I was just, my weed speaks for itself. So
yeah,
there you are.
Yeah. The big growers like to spike the competition.
Yeah. You know what we need up here too is there's one over there. We'll use that one, the bong for later.
Oh, actually, yes, we'll need the bong.
We'll need a bong later, and if you want to. Here, dig in and get a vapor bag going. Please help yourself.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have to get a vapor bag up here.
Oh, sweet. Look at that. My unit's working. Well, we're okay. I think we're fixed up good here for now.
We're good for the...
We can just set that down and we'll just let it be.
Can we
it'll
get
be
volcano
fine.
Bart?
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Got my computer working over there. What a good man.
Crazy.
Hey, would you? Yeah, sure. Go ahead. What's what was that guy saying?
That's Sean Brady.
Sean Brady. Hey, you want some stickers? He'll be back.
I'll be right back.
I got some free stickers for you there.
Sean Brady is actually
and actually some marijuana if you'd like.
Oh. The guy in the back, Sean Brady, was actually a Mernagh witness, actually.
A Mernagh witness. Well, that's very good. Yeah.
So he testified on my behalf. Oh, what a day and a weekend of, absolutely.
So, do you want to...
People are here for talk about the Court of Appeal.
I was going to say, do you want to recap? We were on a little earlier, and we were talking about the update from your court case today. So, at this point, I'll tell you what. You go ahead and...
Well, you can ask questions, you know, if you have any questions.
Well,
so.
I mean, all right. Well,
here
we
go.
understand that the Crown originally opened up the case and made it really easy for the... for us, for our side. He was basically working for us. He just didn't realize it. Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, it starts out the day, you know, I'm all nervous. I'm like, I don't know how this is going to work. Two of the justices have heard the Hitzig medical marijuana case. The two judges up there know their medical marijuana.
So they're familiar with the situation to some degree.
They know what they're, they have experience in this area. And Justice Doherty, right out of the gate, the Crown starts, he starts talking, he starts presenting his argument. And Justice Doherty, who is a very major medical marijuana judge in this province, stopped him and said, if this is your argument, you might as well chalk up another one in the loss column. Because the two of them started with a little hey, I haven't, it's good to see you doing Hitzig. Oh, it's good to see you. It starts his argument, and they did the little formalities. They did, good to see you too. And then all of a sudden, if that's the best you got, man, it was very if that's the best you got today, so it started off quite out of the gate. But it looked like Justice Doherty likes to do that to all lawyers that appear before him, because he did it to our own lawyer, too.
Right. This is awesome. I just want to thank you very much. Now, not only did I get a bong passed to me, but it's full of weed. Now, that's class. Thank you very much. Let's hit this.
So,
From Tamara?
Yeah.
Oh, right on. Thanks, Tamara.
Tamara Smash.
Right on.
Nutrition counselor of Matt Mernagh.
Oh, very good.
Hasn't quite worked out as well as it. But I'm working on it. Yeah, I got the counselor.
Yeah. You're not done, though.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Justice Doherty also did that to Paul Lewin out of the gate, too. The Justice Doherty stopped Paul right and said, you're not suggesting that we don't just, doctors are willy-nilly, we're just going to strike down the marijuana law today, are we? You're not going to tell us right out of the gate you're going to strike down the, that's what his question basically was you really hit us hard right out of the gate, and Paul sort of stumbled. He's like, well, no, actually, there's a 10-point plan from the CMA that they gave to Health Canada that basically says how the program could work effectively, and they call them access points, which is essentially the word where your doctor will be send you to someone who is signing medical marijuana. Access points, they're called.
Yes.
Makes sense. It's a good word, actually.
If there was somebody they could send you to.
And that's what the Canadian Medical Association suggests, is that doctors would fill a niche who are experienced with it by creating what's known as access points, and they would be governed. And we agreed to that idea. In theory, Paul and I, when the trial started, when it first started, we thought, these access points, more regulation, some ideas of these doctors should be, referred to. Your family physician should simply, I don't know about medical marijuana, so I called the College of Physicians and Surgeons. I got this access point doctor. He's an hour away from you or whatever. I wrote him the referral letter, and you got your date of blah, blah, blah. And that's what you would do. It's a reasonable compromise between no marijuana laws.
No marijuana laws, I like that. We need marijuana regulations, but, there definitely needs to be no prohibition of marijuana.
Agreed, and I think that's what Justice Doherty was checking on us. He was just, are you guys these crazy wingnut group? Are you crazy?
He's saying if you're realistic. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we are realistic.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
You know, when Justice Taliano went as far as he did, I was never, I mean, my wildest dreams, that was my wildest dreams, what he gave me, 100%. Everything I ever wanted. And then I was always prepared, and people aren't aware of that. I'm always prepared to, like, I'll make a compromise if I feel it's in the good of what we're up to. And I'm prepared to say, you know, it looks like it's a good idea. And
There's Sean.
I think it's fair to, you know, I think it's a fair compromise on it. I think if the judges have to go with some route, you know, if they go down that route, I wouldn't be too upset by it.
Well, they got a lot of criteria they have to consider. When not just the evidence, but also the benefit and so on to society.
We have international obligations.
Yeah, well, I know, but that's that's another story.
They brought that up today too.
Did they really?
Yeah, the international obligations.
Obviously, the Health Canada brought that up. The government.
Well, the government did.
The government
we have
did,
international obligations, but I just wanted to show us that Doherty came out, but he asked Paul Lewin one good question right out of the gate. But Doherty was clearly the judge of greatness. He had a lot of wonderful one-liners. You know, he asked the Crown a lot of really detailed questions. And I mean, just the one judge on the Justice LaForme's asked, because the Crown starts, well, his introduction is, look at these great statistics. It's increased fivefold. Well, right out of the gate, the justice is like, we don't know how many doctors were asked.
Well,
like, boom.
The big thing is, I was an original exemptee, 56.
Yeah.
So I got in the program early. My original exemption was in the early summer, late spring of 2001. So framed on the wall still, just a piece of paper. And we were I was very much opposed to having forced to join the MMAR. I didn't want to do that. I felt I lost certain rights.
I know a lot of the MMAR people or Section 56ers have told me that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure.
Would you accept a system that went back to that? What if the court? One of the suggestions we saw at the end, and the insight ruling was brought up all day today. It's PHS. If anybody hears that tomorrow, PHS. It's actually insight. And they have a Section 56 exemption. And what the Crown told the court today, or the prosecutor told the court, he's like, you know, the Supreme Court revisited Section 56 and gave it a lot of validity and said, yeah, this is a good route to go.
Right. Because people don't understand. Exemption 56... It basically gives you an exemption to Section 56 of the Criminal Code of Canada, how it pertains to both marijuana possession, use, and cultivation, particularly those. Yeah. Well, if you have a grow permit, the cultivation part, or if you're just a user, then it's the possession and use of. Just to clear that up. A lot of people don't like that, or aren't aware of that. So
now that's what I currently have. I currently have.
That's what you have, and you're fighting to keep and I think bring back in some sense. This decision could bring that that program kind of back or revisit.
Well, it could be one of the schemes that they are presenting to the court is, and you saw it at the end. They're like, we're okay with him having his exemption.
I heard that. Yeah, I heard that.
And so that is a huge compromise on their part. So we're prepared to say, yeah, we're okay with doctors' access points and a program where people go and this doctor says, hey, how come it's not working? Or, man, I tried medical marijuana, it didn't work, and it kept me awake all night. And they say, well, you smoked sativa or something. Like, wouldn't that be a good doctor?
Yeah, really.
But yeah, they're saying, look, revisit Section 56. You could exempt Mernagh from the law. He could keep the exemption. The 22 people he brought to court, they can apply to the minister, or, you know, the court may go so far as to say Mernagh and these 22 should also be now exempt. And we're just going to write it into the law also, where the minister can issue it, and now there's a medical necessity defense. Because even the Crown's like, well, you know, we do go lenient when they prove to us they're medical.
And why should ill and suffering Canadians be forced to have to go through that just for the same right of using, you know, I mean, first of all, we're using natural plant medicine, which definitely has been proven to be non-toxic, and it won't hurt you in any way. It's by no means can be fatal, or you physically can't take enough pot to overdose before you'll just fall asleep.
Matty Oliver.
I tried, really, a couple times.
Matty Oliver's in the chat. I can't see it. So just, if you see good questions in the chat, Matty, can you just use that there?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
we're at 100. I've never seen this many viewers, and if you guys keep going on the Facebook,
Oh, this
fire
is awesome.
it up, guys.
Right on.
Everybody,
That's good to know. Right
so 106, biggest numbers of we've seen. So
And we might go over time today's show because I'm pretty sure Becky's not lining up to do her show.
Yep.
Rebecca Ambrose from the Vancouver Seed Bank usually follows my show on Mondays. So, and
Right.
sometimes she's the Vancouver Seed Bank live from Jamaica.
Yes.
No, please tell us. Question, yeah.
No, there's no ruling tomorrow, guys. Well, after the day, I mean, when Doherty said it looks like you're going to chalk that one up in the loss column, and he's like, you might win one day. That was his other column. You might win it one day. Like, and the judges are telling him, look, we want to solve this today. We want some answers from you, and we want some answers from Mernagh, and we're going to get some answers from some interveners, and we're going to go into our little room, and we're going to hammer out what we think is doable. And I don't know how long that's going to take. I don't know where they're going to go with it. But they got a lot to think about. And Doherty's like looking, he's quizzical. I'm pretty certain I know we're going to win. I just don't know which way he's going to go. I mean, does he keep Doherty created the doctors as gatekeeper scheme. And in fact, he wrote Hitzig. So when he says, look, I'm prepared to revisit it, you note the Crown didn't tell him, look, you don't even have to listen to the Mernagh guy because, the number keeps going up, which is one of their arguments in lower court. The number's going up, Your Honor. It's still good. There's no problem here.
But look at all the court cases we've had against the Health Canada scheme since 2001. There's been a large number of them. In almost every instance, we kick ass.
Yep.
Unfortunately, for instance, in the one grower area, and now they took the whole year to do it, and they come up with two. I mean, it took them a whole year to go from 1 to 2. There's a lot of other cases, and it just shows time and time again bad faith and the inability to work with the real stakeholders who aren't the police. Who, really, it's the patients. It's the ill and suffering Canadians who need access to medical grade cannabis. And that's just what it boils down to. I can understand in 12 years, we're still sitting in court over access 12 years later. In all of Canada, there is how many, 9,000?
About 9,000.
About 9,000 medical exemptees in the entire country. This is going back, I can go back about 6 years ago. The state of Washington alone has 200,000 exemptees with cards. That just shows you how fucked up our system is and how unwilling the government is to work with the real people they're there elected for to look after. Just makes me pissed off. Who wants a bong hit of Burmese? Come on up. Anybody. I don't care. Come on up.
That
there
girl
you go.
right
I see
there.
a hand right there. This girl right here. Come on up, have a bong hit.
One of the questions Doherty asked the Crown right out of the...
This is Opus Live, man. We don't play games. This is West Coast style.
One of the questions Doherty asked the Crown is, should we accept that the majority of doctors are not signing? And the Crown, And then he says, all the major organizations who speak for doctors haven't said anything. And he means, why are they not coming to court? Why is the CMA not coming to court and saying, we are here on behalf of the CMA to tell you what we want? These, so they're backing away from all of that.
It's 420. Happy 420.
Happy 420, Vancouver.
420.
And then he says, you can't, the Crown retorts to the question of, should we accept that the majority of doctors are not signing? And the Crown says, you can't determine whether or not it's a minority or a majority of doctors signing from the record presented in Mernagh. And he keeps going back to that. He said, we just didn't call enough evidence. We don't know what we do. What we're doing is.
Did you take my lighter?
I think that could be me.
That girl just had the bong hit there.
I think she took your lighter.
Did you take my lighter? Boy, you gotta be fast.
Thief.
You gotta be faster out here.
Lighter thief.
No problem.
You know.
See, I knew I'd find it as soon as I looked for light up the next toke. Hey. Yeah. I smoke way too much pot to pull that off.
No. So the Crown, Doherty, the Crown says, we haven't called enough evidence. We don't have enough witnesses. And Doherty's response to the Crown was, well, how many people do you have to bring to court?
Then you had 17, no, 20.
22 witnesses.
Narrowed down from original.
We called over we interviewed 300 people originally. And So we picked.
So maybe you should have just kept the 300 in.
And that's what we're going to tell the court at the end. Is like, you give us a number, and we'll come bring them. Give me 6 months, give me a year.
You got 600. What do you need? 1,000, 2,000.
I can bring you 1,000 to 2,000 in a year. Give me a year.
Hey, listen, I could charter a whole plane from the West Coast easy, and I'm just talking from Vancouver Island.
And you're in a good spot because you're a rural community.
I live in a town of like 10,000 people. Guaranteed, I could get 400 of them to pile on and say, yeah, sure. I couldn't get someone to sign it. Hey, yo.
No, I'm on. I just walked.
Chris Goodwin here asking a question.
Paul McKeever just called me. He's writing his blog. He's asking if I remember, and I don't. If you guys remember the judge saying something to the effect of, "Too bad that this didn't go the same way as alcohol prohibition." And that
Doherty did make several alcohol comments, and I'm not sure if
you didn't remember Mernagh's first thing is that he made several alcohol.
He made several alcohol comments about drinking and medicating with alcohol, but that one I didn't catch it.
I didn't hear that. Small stuff like that too,
but I did catch a lot of his alcohol. Let me. I'm gonna go through.
Oh, it was the Crown that made the comment.
Oh, it's the Crown, yeah, because Doherty then he was asking about self-medication of prohibited substances, and the Crown was like, didn't know where he was going with, and Doherty was talking about alcohol, and I was kind of shocked. I'm trying to find in the notes where he talked about it. I'm still at the point where they constantly...
Well, yeah, people said they self-medicate all the time, and the Crown says, with what? And then the response was, well, with alcohol.
That's right.
And then what, Paul?
I think...
And then the Crown said something to the effect of, well, then it's unfortunate that cannabis has gone the way it did.
That's right, he did.
Sorry, unfortunately... that alcohol went the way it did, because we could have been dealing with alcohol like a medicine, I guess. And then Doherty said, I guess that we'll close it on that one. The door is
Doherty
on
says
that
people
one.
self-medicate with many drugs that are harmful, and then Doherty's.
Well, you got people, sometimes schizophrenics self-medicating with tobacco.
And the Crown says you have no right to self-medicate. And then he says one has to be very careful with the right to self-medicate is also from the Crown.
Well, there's no problem with prescription medications there.
But yeah, and Doherty uses the example. I didn't catch the Crown. I did hear him say it's too bad it didn't go that way. But yeah, Doherty did make that reference. Yeah, I did catch his, you have no right to self-medicate from the Crown. So we're going over notes. And the Crown is saying, we didn't just call enough evidence, and, the Doherty outright comes back and says to him, well, no, there is quite a substantial record of, there's a significant amount of evidence was gathered from these witnesses. And that goes to, what a large amount of work that we did.
Right. Well, from my point of view, I wasn't there in the morning, but I was following the tweets that were fast and furious coming from the courtroom. Dana Larson, yourself, and it was looking good. The afternoon was a little bit shaky there to start off.
Yeah. But I think that's Doherty's style now.
Right.
He's like...
Well, again, you said that's just testing to see if you were wingnuts or not.
I think so, too. Are these guys are they just wingnuts? And we're like, no, we're prepared to... We could have compromised at any time. We could have helped...
Maybe he saw the crowd out front through the window and thought, I don't know, they look extreme.
I worried about... That was one of my... When he's like, well... before court started, I was invited to sit with Paul Lewin, my lawyer, leave the... He's like, where is the respondent? I'm like, oh, man, he's checking all these pot leaf guys. Like, all our crew are all wearing pot leaves.
Well, there was flags flying. I mean, come on.
He's like, probably just scan... I'm just like, yeah, he's scanning the crowd to figure out which pot leaf wearing guy I am.
We were all outside smoking weed for about an hour beforehand, so I'm sure the place smelled... I mean, I had... a big bag. I go right through security with all this weed rolling. They didn't look at anything. They just go ahead. I mean, we don't notice it, but I'm sure the place, they're airing it out still. Maybe they'll wait till the end of tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe they're expecting some big finale, right? We'll bring out the glassware and
we should do a
generator.
Big finale.
We'll hook up some volcanoes out front.
We'll do a big court finale tomorrow. That's for sure. Because we should be done before 4:20. That's
Yeah.
But the Crown did go over our witnesses, and his best thing is, like, I have a high dosage of sympathy for them.
Well, gee, thanks.
Yeah.
Well, that's real big of you.
And he says stuff for people that use marijuana for glaucoma, for it truly to be effective, they need to use it every 3 or 4 hours. I don't know about you. I have some prescriptions at home that say, please take every 3 or 4 hours.
You want to have a little of this here, man?
What are people online saying? Zoom in? I moved the camera closer, so it's a lot of a clearer of a shot.
I can zoom out.
This volcano's not working on me. Oh, there it is. It was the National Post. We've already made the National Post, I guess, a blog or online. Somebody's like, oh, they gave you bad coverage. I'm like, no, we never even talked yet.
I got to learn not to listen to the chat, too, sometimes.
I know.
Because they were the ones in court that... I must have been having the camera in the right spot for like an hour and a half, and then someone's like, you should move it closer, and as soon as I moved it...
No, you drew attention to yourself.
That was it. Busted.
Yeah, you drew attention to yourself.
So you guys out in the chat, stop instigating us.
Yeah. Ignore it.
We already are troublemakers enough on our own.
In the settings, just go off of that and open up the other window. Just turn your chat window off. I do that in the studio, Pod TV. That's why Marius, he does the chat. I don't even look at it.
I like following it along just for whatever, but I don't usually while I'm busy.
Well, with my bad eyes, I can't see it anyway, so it just makes things difficult.
I like to use it like in the beginning during the test, and I got to thank everyone else out in the chat. You guys are really good when we need to know if the audio's working and how the video...
Absolutely. That's like I say, I just let someone else handle it, but answer any questions, please. Jump in if anyone's got a question from the chat, so I don't mind at all. Don't
we love the interns, too, that are in the room here.
Be part of the show. It's interactive. That's the whole idea, we
don't have a Mr. Marius.
No, you don't have Mr. Marius.
We're going to have to get that.
You got to get a Mr. Marius?
I keep asking for a chat guy.
Yeah.
Well, what about a trade?
No. We aren't giving up Marius. No way.
We're not in trading season?
No, we're going to use Bud Cannabis or Matty Oliver in our chat room.
He might enjoy
Matty Oliver's in the chat right now.
I know.
He's there. Joking too. Cool. Here's a good question from Doherty to the Crown. What's the answer, for the person who medically qualifies and has taken the steps but hasn't gotten their license? Like, he actually asked the Crown that. He's like, what's the answer for the person who medically qualifies but has taken the steps but not got a license? He's like, what's the answer to this? And the Crown's like, well, after the argument's over, self-medicating. And then LaForme says, like, what does a person have to do to get an exemption? How hard do they have to look for a card? Because if you note, the Crown says about me, Matt Mernagh, You know, there's a couple years where I didn't even have a family doctor. He says I only asked.
Yeah, I was going to say, what about all the people that are just, there's enough evidence out there of people who can't even get doctors.
We called that.
You know, I mean, what, how
I
can
know
they
you-
use
I
that?
hear
Why
about
would I even bring that up? That's
Doctor
just
shortages
retarded.
all the time.
And it says that in, you know.
And whose fault is that? The Opus contest. Actually, we're not having an online contest. I was just going to say I've got the next thing lined up, but I thought just for
We
the
have an
show,
album to give away if you wanted to give away.
I'm
going to
do like just in-house contest here, just
Cool.
in Vapor Central, since I don't
Nice.
have.
Well, that's
just
still an
easier
Opus
this
contest.
week. Yeah, we're going to have those kinds of contests. But
Is
I
it
got
a question? I forget what the.
Well, I haven't. I was just thinking what I was going to say. Oh, for you know, the first contest was just who's got the parts to come up and have a bong hit, and there she was. But she tried to walk away with my lighter.
Yeah. Got to be careful there, man. This is Toronto.
That's why we use the lighter leash.
Another great question from Doherty is, where do you stand on the issue of access of supply? Are they still growing it in the mine? Like, here's something the Crown's like, well, they never really called any of that evidence. And he's right. Well, we never really talked about it. And here's Doherty like, I don't even know. Are they growing it in the mine still? You know, like, I didn't read about it. Are they still growing it in that mine?
Maybe.
And the Crown's like, I don't really know where they're growing it.
It's a guess away.
Oh.
See what I mean?
Well, we can ask for one.
Okay. Does anyone out here have a little set of electronic scales I can borrow just for a few minutes?
For a guess the weight competition?
We're gonna have a guess the weight.
No, we just don't usually like them on the tables.
All right. Well, we'll come up.
But
with
if you have one in your
I
bag,
have another idea.
and then you will be one of the contestants.
Yeah. Let us
have
borrow
another
your
idea.
scale.
So you'll be busted that you have a scale too.
That's just to make sure I don't have more marijuana than I'm supposed to.
It's okay.
The chat puts $5 on Dana.
Oh, it's against Dana?
No.
Well, I think
hope not.
you're up. Okay.
I should have it as an app.
You know.
I know everyone wants the iPhone scale app. It doesn't exist yet. It'll be in the new iPhone 5, I heard.
They're making a Star Trek tricorder. They can make it iPhone.
No.
Hi, Dana.
Hi, Chris.
No. Then the Crown kept talking to the court. He's like, well, we're not doctors here. We're not doctors. It's a lot of his stuff is like when they were getting, I mean, and then at one point he was like, we're not doctors, and I'm now going to not be able to pronounce the word metabolize. I'm not a doctor, so I can't all of a sudden pronounce the word. And he makes metabol, and you're like, dude, it's... He's tripped over the word M. Like all of a sudden, we're not medical doctors in here, and starts tripping over words that are quite, quite simple. And it's
I think that was the part Dana fell asleep at.
yeah. Doherty responded, well, people who wrote the regulations are probably not doctors either, right?
No, I think they actually spent more time talking to cops when it came to writing the regulations. They were very concerned with the police made it their business to be very much involved with the writing of the
DEA was
regulations.
involved.
Yeah, well, they're the ones that came up with that. What was it, 3 gram? When they came up with that 3 gram max daily limit that they were suggesting, that was straight out of the from the DEA or from the Americans. Yeah, who said that there's no medical value, but yet said, but 3 grams was sufficient for the average daily dosage.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dana.
Well,
Dana
the
Larson, how you
cops-
doing?
I'm good. It's good to be here.
Hey, good having you.
I'm a little tired, still jet lagged from coming from Vancouver. But the cops have been the main proponents and still argue on a lot of their stuff. And the DARE program, and that still teaches that marijuana is not a medicine. This is all a fraud, and we all are a bunch of liars. And none of these studies show anything. And the police still try to perpetuate the idea that marijuana is not a valid medicine for a lot of people. It's ridiculous. But
Well,
this court case is monumental, and
Very
from
much so.
what we saw today in court, and I don't think there's any real chance these judges are going to overturn the original decision, and I think this is something that is going to mean a lot. We keep chipping away at the program, but this is a pretty big chip.
Oh, this is a huge chip.
This is a bigger one, with the decision in Victoria about the use of
the extractions.
That the idea that people have the right to make hash and to make foods and tinctures and other extracts,
oils and things, and sure.
Yeah, that's very important.
That's
but
fantastic.
this is much more, and I don't really know how they're going to solve it. Like the idea that, marijuana as a medication should really be a non-prescription medication. That would make the most sense, right? That people should be, in terms of its safety and its effect. But I don't know how Health Canada. I understand for extractions they can say, well, you can make your own stuff, and that'll probably be the way that they will do the minimum possible. They'll say you can't sell it or buy it, but you can make your own.
Much like a personal production license.
Yeah,
the restrictions are just for personal use only, and that's the way it is.
Yeah, but this is such a huge attack. I don't know what their answer can be other than to open up the program in a whole other way. Because without doctors as gatekeepers, that means that I don't know who the gatekeeper is going to be other than the individual.
All right, I just want to ask anyone out here, who wants to play in a contest? Who wants to come up here? I need 3 people. Who wants to come up and have a quick contest here? It's like a Opus Live contest. Yo, man, you want to play?
Jack will play. He's a good player.
There we go. I got one player up here. Okay, I need at least
the
one
girl
more
did a
person.
bong rip earlier. Let's see somebody from the back.
Someone from the back want to come up and play. You can win some free marijuana.
Dude with his hand up. Come on down.
It's a guessing game.
Dude from the back.
We're going to guess the weight of a bud. And whoever gets the closest
Somebody
to it
just
wins
said, that
the
guy's
bud.
too much of a regular, but... And what do you maybe? I don't know. Somebody just screamed, that guy's a regular.
Who wants to win marijuana?
Do we want to bring the woman
up? I can't
up
believe
and
I
then
can't give away marijuana.
All right, bring her up 2 for 3. Her right here. Bring the bong rip chick up.
Come on up, dude, man. Yeah.
You.
Yeah. Just come on up to the
Bong
mic so we
rip
can play. Free marijuana. Come here.
You.
Come on up, man.
Come on up. Serious. Come on up.
This is how we do it on the West Coast. All right, we got contestants.
Now we got contestants. No,
Right
y'all
on.
playing. There we go. Everybody.
Actually, I need just 3 people. 3 people. All right. Everybody gets one guess. All right. This is like
no regulars.
This is not The Price is Right. This is The Bud is Right. Okay.
The Bud is Right.
The Bud is Right here for the first time on Opus Live. This is what we're doing. All right, guys. We'll start over here, and just because we always, pass on the left. So, what do you think this bud weighs? And you just get to look at it from there. That's it, man. So,
I'm gonna go with 1.7.
all right,
Oh.
1.7 right here. What do you say? This girl here tries to steal a lighter.
2.3.
2.3. Yo, man, what do you figure? Come on.
1.9.
1.9, and you're not in it.
That's
1.9.
Now, that just felt like, The Price is Right when they bring it. Did it not feel like that? That feels like,
You
dude.
notice nobody guessed 420.
Yeah, I see that. Have you seen that one quick price? Have you seen that Price is Right clip where the guy every time
420.
bids 420 on everything? Check
I
it out
gotta
on
go
YouTube.
with 420, Bob.
Yeah. For everything.
The scale's here, but I've already pre-weighed
We
it
already
up.
know this up.
Here you go. This is the bud. Oh, well, here's the bud. You want to pull this camera up? I don't know if it's... No, we'll just move this right along because we're just going to have fun today. I have... you're the lucky winner because it was 1.2. And there you go. You got the bud. I have some lovely... Don't go away. I got some consolation prizes. On the Bud is Right here on Opus Live.
I'm stealing. Dude, can we steal this?
We got stickers. Have a trash sticker, and you get a trash sticker over there too. And you want one of these, or you can take one. Or who wants this? Good one. You can pass that out. Or you got a sticker. Here you go. I got one behind you. Never mind.
He got the nug. He doesn't get it.
He's got a nug. That's what I figure. Trade the sticker for the nug. You should make a deal.
There you work it. Like the trade. Here's one of the great responses from.
See, this is a difference. This is a lot different doing the show in a room full of people and doing it in our cramped little, I like to say the palatial penthouse studios at Pod TV in Vancouver.
Everybody, Jeremiah said that too. Guess what? I think you're all going back next week and you're all going to work out of their lounge.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah.
I think Jeremiah was hooked on the eye. He's like, dude, that was...
More importantly, I think Jody was stoked on the whole thing as well.
Yeah,
Well,
so...
it's interactive.
And more than that, I might be actually probably coming back in a couple weeks to host the TY Expo live. We're working out the details, so stay tuned. We'll try to... Well, I can maybe on next week's show out of Vancouver, I'll know more. Hopefully
I don't know if you, Chris, caught this one.
Okay, go on.
One of the questions from Doherty is like, what happens if we find the program to be a semi-illusion?
Whoa.
It's semi-illusion. Is that enough to like go in your direct? Like, can we just decide it kind of works?
It's like semi-pregnant.
Well, yeah. He's like, what if it kind of works? What if the program just sort of works? Like the judge is like, you know, some people get in. The judge didn't say that. He says, what if it's semi-illusory?
I
know what the
am
response...
I seeing things, or do I think I'm seeing
well,
things?
you know, like what if it sort of works, and it basically works for some, doesn't work for everyone, right? What if the Crown's response was, and he thought, like, the Crown actually took a moment to think about this answer, because that was a heavy question, and Doherty's like, so what if some people get in, some people don't? Like, is that okay to just accept? And the Crown finally decides this legal answer is the best legal answer he can come up with.
Uh-oh.
That's just life. You could feel, I was glad that there was another courtroom, because I have never wanted to, like, groan and hit someone at the same time when I've been in, like, I just looked and I was like, dude, I
don't know what to say to that.
I was just like, some get in, some don't get out. That's just life, you know?
Oh, well.
So at this point, you know, the judges got him on the ropes. The judge is like, he's got him. He's like, so what happens if I find that there has been a security of Mr. Mernagh's breach of liberty? What happens if there is this charter breach that Judge Taliano found? What happens if I found that there's been a charter breach? Because the Crown then says, you know, if there's a charter breach in my arrest, that's okay, I'm Matt Mernagh. It can be saved by Section 1 of the Charter if we're just allowed to do that. I guess we're just allowed to do that, right? So the judge stops and says, well, have you ever justified a breach under Section 7 of the Charter that is then saved under Section 1? Right? Like, have you ever done it? And this is a Crown attorney picked for his charter experience, and judges picked for their medical marijuana experience, and they're looking at him like, please, like, name one. Like, you've done at least the job of finding us one. And the Crown's like, well, I've never done that. You know, he sits again. No, it's never been done.
Never been done. There's a reason for that.
And the Crown actually stops at this. And this is how basically a good chunk of the day ends. And I think how we should really do this. If you're driven to Section 1, in other words, if you're saying, look, there's a charter breach, it can be saved by Section 1. And Doherty says, if you are driven to Section 1 to save the case, then I'm putting this down as a loss.
That's what she said, yeah.
Exactly.
Well, because Section 1's the last resort, right?
It's the very last, like, it's like, yeah, we got to put Matt Mernagh in jail for fuck's sakes.
Well,
we need, like, full-on Stephen Harper will come down to my house himself.
Fuck Harper.
He will come to the house
I
himself.
actually think that the
I'm
only
screwing
case
you with-
Section 1 has ever been used on is Bill 101 in Quebec.
Which
is that everything must be in French and English is illegal. And, like, even a McDonald's got fined because the door in the metal said push. And it said it in English, right? And it came in the delivery that way. And, you know, Bill 101, it's unconstitutional in 3 or 4 other parts of the Charter, but it's only saved by one, which is that they have the right to do it anyways.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's like, so he just tells them if that's the best you got, you might as well put it down as a loss.
Because that's the only one he would have been able to bring up in his memory is, oh yeah, the separatists use it.
The separatists use it.
I wonder if we could get someone to go back in, like, the Hitzig trial and the Parker trials and in the appeals and all of these cases. It'd be kind of nice to go back and pull out all the bonehead remarks made by the Crown and compile that into, like, an audio book.
Have the transcripts.
No, just
It'll
the
be in the
bonehead
movie.
remarks, you know.
Yeah, we'd have to go through all those transcripts.
That would be funny, though.
Because there's just like, that's just life. Like, he's
That's
just
just
like,
exactly
you
like
know,
that, perfectly.
we arrested him, he can't get into the program, he's sick, but you know what?
That's life.
That's life.
That's life, buddy. Like, who says that?
That's a comedy routine in itself.
They were also saying something at that part about non-state actors, that it doesn't matter because most of the infringement is by non-state actors. That's
Right.
not true, is it?
Well, the funny thing is that that's a flip. A complete flip, because Justice Taliano was prepared. The Crown originally, in Mernagh, tried to actually argue, is that, no, doctors are state actors. Therefore, yeah, there's a major constitutional breach. But the Crown then backed right out of that and was like, well, actually, Taliano's like, no, they're not. Taliano's like, they get paid by the state, but they're not state actors. A state actor is someone who is sworn to uphold government.
That's right.
Your doctor is not sworn to uphold government. Your doctor is just sworn to cash a paycheck from the government.
They don't even do the Hippocratic oath or whatever. They don't even do that anymore. Well, contrary to popular belief.
And Doherty then reminds the court, he's like, look, you know, whatever the remedy it is, whatever your remedy is, we need at least a year. But then they go into a neat area, is that he says, the province is the primary responsibility for health care. And that is something we've been arguing to politicians. So my full dream of, well, no, there's a federal law, there's crosses into provincial, and ultimately gets right down to municipal. You know, what if they just decide these access points can't exist in certain neighborhoods, or, you know, or they should exist here, or we want one? What if a community is like, man, we want the pot dock in this neighborhood because
you know, there's
people will
wet
come.
and dry neighborhoods up until a few years ago, even for alcohol, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I think the last one, had to go went the opposite way. But even up until like 95 to 2005, there were still 5 or 6 cities in Canada that were dry alcohol cities.
Well, BC only got alcohol on Sundays because of Expo. That was it. Yeah, it was Expo 86. Before and that opened it wide open, and originally they only were going to do it for the fair, and then they were going to reevaluate. Well, yeah, they reevaluated it as soon as they saw the dollars coming in. Yeah, that didn't take much, and that's why you can buy liquor every day of the week now. Well, and
Yeah.
same, but this is.
But yeah, that brings up an interesting question. Like, what if you knock down the law federally, and then there is some provincial regulation in the next 5 years that comes to be that's medical and yada yada yada. But then what if some community decides to outlaw it? We're not going to allow growing here. We're not going to allow.
They've already done that in BC.
Usually,
And they've done it in BC.
They've done that in
There's
BC.
bylaws
Yeah.
in specific cities.
but
yeah,
unfortunately, bylaws are the
Abbotsford,
lowest form of law, and usually federal is highest form of, like it's a trickle
That's right.
down, right? So, I mean,
But you're right. It does extend all the way down to.
we're looking
municipal.
at something that's very convoluted now, and I'd like to go back to our argument, and one of the Maddie's got a question.
Yeah, man.
Do you think getting rid of category 1 and category 2 would be enough to see more doctors?
No, not at
No,
all.
no,
Today, the first question from Justice Doherty was like, "Yeah, we will go over this again." Is like, are these guys a bunch of wig nuts just trying to knock down the law? Are they completely uncompromising? And at trial, we were unable to present the 10-point plan from the CMA. Paul and I read it. You always have to come in with a position of, look, this will work, and you give the court many options. You don't want to just say, hey, we're gonna. And the 10-point plan was good, but we couldn't introduce it because Taliano refused to accept it because we would be telling the government what to do.
Right.
It seems like the Ontario Court of Appeal is very much prepared to tell the government what to do.
Well, that's good, but and that's another thing is we're not so much telling them we want to knock the whole thing down, but the present system isn't working. That's what most
But
important.
judges aren't supposed to act in that manner, right? Like they're not really supposed to.
Well, see, the first thing is that Doherty upheld the idea of doctors as gatekeepers. He already did that in his thing. So now we have to prove that it's a really bad idea to him. And he's definitely not going to go so far as to say, this is so bad that I'm just going to allow these people to have a medical... Now, he might allow a medical necessity defense. He might do a write-down. I mean, he may, as Paul McKeever suggests, what if he did a write-down?
That's right.
And
I
said,
understand.
you're allowed to possess and grow medical marijuana, marijuana.
No, it would still
For
say
medical
it would
reasons.
still say under the CDSA like 4.1 and 5.1 or whatever are possession and cultivation. It would still be illegal, but then the last words except for medical marijuana.
And you could see the Crown sort of lit up on that. He's like, yeah, we often allow people if they prove it, and we withdraw. And you can also see every defense attorney in the country light up under that idea.
But
Like,
yeah,
Mik
Paul
Mann
McKeever's
introduced-
blog idea and
Yep.
on
Prove
that
it's-
regard is that everyone could just claim it.
Well, sure, the first question a police officer says is, what do you think you're doing when you're walking down the street smoking a joint? You say, well, I had a long day at the office. And the cop would have to prove that, hey, you didn't have a long day at the office and that you sat on your chair all day and fucked the dog, right? He'd have to prove, like, he'd have to prove, like, that it was a very easy day for you.
You were playing Farmville all day.
Yeah, you were playing Farmville.
We got your
So the biggest problem that us and Paul Lewin have is that there is a lot that Justice Taliano read and went through.
Yeah.
A great deal of material, 22 witnesses, and so
I've read it.
you read his ruling. You didn't read the material that went to the ruling, and so what we are asking the court, and what Paul really, really asks the court, is please read every one of the patient witnesses' affidavits. Read them all. Don't read just Justice Taliano. Go in and read them all. And we're not asking for sympathy. It's one big part of the puzzle. Do our medical files, and then say we all ought to be in the medical marijuana program. And Doherty, just his response was, well, wouldn't he just sign the paperwork then? And that's how these guys think, is that, you can't quite figure it all out. It's not all there. And we admit that it's not quite, our picture's a little hard to see unless you take a very good look at it from its whole total picture, because, we're talking about pharmaceutical detailers, and Doherty was like, what are you talking about pharmaceutical people about? That has no relevance, and, actually it does. We would say is that the pharmaceutical industry has a little bit too much of an influence on your doctor, that Matt Mernagh talking to his doctor about medical marijuana versus the pharmaceutical rep talking about the latest prescription.
And having all the free samples is big
maybe some J tickets to go hang out and talk about it some more.
And it's funny why, what doctors do, they actually call a practice. But in fact, with marijuana, medical marijuana, we've got thousands of years of evidence with no ill effects, no ill side effects. And I don't know if you've watched the commercials for pharmaceuticals lately, but a bleeding anus and memory loss, maybe death, doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun for side effects.
No. So I've taken up a good chunk of your show, so why don't you just keep going, and I'm going to see you tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think I got some family stuff I got to take care of. I don't know, but we'll try.
Try and do it.
We'll try to get down there.
We are back at Osgood Hall at 10:30 tomorrow, courtroom 1 and 2. Get the word out, because there's a whole room set aside for you to see it.
That's at 130 Queen Street West.
Yeah. You ain't going to see it any other way.
It'll be way better tomorrow too. It'll be.
Yeah.
More support tomorrow. It's come on down. And
well, I wanted to make sure all our friends, all our team knows what our side's really up to, but I want people to know what the Crown's up to. And tomorrow's going to be the burnout day, the blowout, and this will be it. And we'll go do the Mernagh show, and I'm going to start getting a lot of rest in after that, and start my vacation a bit. And
well, here, buddy, I want to give you a bud to take with you.
I'm going to take that home.
Take that home with you, man.
The last Burmese I got from you is included in my upcoming strain guide.
Oh, sweet. That's
so thank you.
I'll be looking for that. I'll have a check. Yeah.
Thanks for the awesome comments about my Yoda growth, because, you're a cannabis champion grower.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
I really appreciate it.
Oh, right on, man.
Bring somebody else up here to talk to Opus about their weekend. Reverend Daniel, talk about Global Marijuana March with Opus. He's got videos to show and all that. Come on, guys.
Well, actually, I haven't uploaded a video, but you guys... Who wants to come up here who's at the Global Marijuana March and share their experiences from Saturday's event? I know I had a blast. If you're watching online, actually, or if you're taking notes in the studio audience, you can just hang on to that, dude. It's cool.
Quite
yeah.
a weekend, eh?
Oh, it was an awesome time. I got to tell you, here in Toronto, you guys got to give a hand to yourselves because you guys sure are a rowdier, louder, more participatory crowd than I'm used to seeing in Vancouver. So, give yourselves a hand. You guys are awesome.
Here we go.
The crew from Vapor Central representing was strong and hardcore, and you got it going on. I'm telling you.
Well, the hash
it's
mob
good to
has
see.
been-
It's
the
so
hash-
good to see.
The hash mob has been leading the activism around here for quite a while now, and one of the things that we look for the most is people to participate. Get out and do your part. Put up some posters, and some people go as far as to running in for office or getting involved politically, but difference and change isn't going to happen if we sit on our asses. We got to get out there. We have to break the unjust laws and break them every day
Absolutely.
if we want them to get changed.
I try this on my show. I saying it over and over again that I says, even just standing on it. Marc Emery, his favorite thing, he said, just make up a sign, stand on a street corner for an hour, put on some nice clothes so you don't look like some, ruffian or something. Try to look good. Stand on a busy street corner saying, end marijuana prohibition on a piece of cardboard. Just simple things that anybody can do, An hour of your day a week. How hard is that? If you did that for an hour a week in the same spot on a day particular, how long before you think you'll get some newspaper guy coming around saying, oh, so what's your story?
Yep.
That's activism.
Right. And that's getting stuff done, for sure.
Absolutely.
So was this your first Toronto march?
It's my first, in the last 20 years, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
I go back. My activism here in Toronto was back in the sort of mid 70s, but it was more associated with Normal Canada.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, back when Terry Parker was walking around. And
Terry was at the march all weekend.
Yeah, sure, putting up posters on. I remember back in the 70s, man, he was doing that.
That's cool.
Terry, he's still doing it.
Yeah, it was awesome. I didn't know Terry Parker that well, but I talked to him at the march, and it was pretty cool.
I knew him. My association was more through friends of mine. That But I know Terry.
Yeah. So there was no festival part this year.
No.
Normally, when we would have gotten to the march and then marched around and came back, literally the entire perimeter would just be booths.
Yeah, I've seen the video.
Booth after booth after booth, and that gave people a lot of stuff to do, and people a little munchy break. There was lots of different food vendors, so that was missing this year, and it was a little bit unfortunate. But that's my 5th or 6th march, and I thought it was pretty fun.
Oh, I
thought it was amazing.
I had an excellent time. I've got video, so if you go to my YouTube channel, is Opus 420.
So people were asking if there was going to be any photos or video from court today. If anybody had any footage, if anybody would be putting that up. I don't know of any.
Well, I know we were broadcasting live earlier, and then, like Chris alluded to earlier, he moved, and that was the end of that one.
Somebody from the chat.
Well, we won't blame it on chat.
Somebody from the chat said, "Move the camera a little closer." So Chris moved it. As soon as he moved it, the guy's like, "What are you doing?" So Chris kind of hoping the chat will be a little less directive sometimes, but no, that was just all in good fun, and that was funny. Chris did try to get some good footage, and so that was good.
And if you have footage or photographs or video of the march, I send it to Jeremiah at cannabisculture.com. As always on Cannabis Culture, we put all the footage up from every march, and from all around the world. It is global, so the same as that we did for 420. And I'm sure if you go there tomorrow or the next day, there'll be lots of stuff up that you can look at. Sure. And like I say, I gave him 3 gigs of footage on a memory stick. I hope he doesn't lose it. He was having a pretty good time at the Goodwin wedding. Was looking a little. The
wedding was absolutely phenomenal. I had the time of my life.
Well, that was after the march, so a bunch of us went down there, and that was fun. I had an awesome time.
Oh yeah.
I know Chris is here, and Aaron, the newlyweds are over there working. The Goodwins are working. Mr. and Mrs. Goodwin.
Yeah, they're taking care.
Yeah.
Taking care of Vapor Central. This is, of course, Chris opened Vapor Central. We just had our 5th anniversary.
Has it been that long?
It has been that long.
Wow.
It's been our 5th anniversary, and Chris, who opened Up and Smoke Cafe originally in Hamilton.
Well, I was going to
And,
say the Hash Mob. When
Hash
you mentioned the
Mob.
Hash Mob, you guys all came up from Hamilton originally.
Well, I'm originally from Toronto, but I came here about 3 years ago, started working here. But yeah, Hash Mob and all of that whole Mernagh, everybody came from Hamilton.
Yeah.
It was an original Hamilton Hash Mob,
That
and
was it.
Toronto Hash Mob has developed from that as well.
Yes, risen from the ashes
It
of the.
has, it has.
Risen
And,
from the ashes of that bowl. He emptied that bowl, and we've started over. I guess that's one way to look at it.
This has been one of our comedians that likes to joke. You just need to put rolling papers all over the wall, and it's like you're inside a joint. And that's what being here at Vapor Central is like. And it's taken a lot of work, a lot of hard work and dedication from Chris Goodwin and Aaron and everybody else that works here over the years. The staff here now work our asses off. And we do it because these, one thing, it's fun.
Pass me the
We have a
ball.
great time hanging out with you guys here
Of course.
and our customers who support us. And we in turn try to just, provide a nice, safe place for people to smoke and have a good time.
Yeah, well,
And we've successfully done that.
is everyone here having a good time? So
Well,
there
that's
you
there.
go.
So
That
there
proves
we
it
go.
right there.
Definitely.
All right. Who wants to do a bong hit? Handing out some Burmese. Look at that. Someone right there. Come on up,
that
buddy.
guy has got
Come
a
on
nice
up.
bright blue shirt. He's going to come up.
There he was. See what wearing bright colors will get you? Noticed in a crowd.
What's it say? Let's get wet?
Let's get wet.
All
Let's
right.
get wet. Well, here we go.
Here
We're
we
going to
go.
do a bong rip.
See how
Hang
wet
on.
you can get.
Hold this.
You have a lighter? I got one.
Well, I got to fill it up. Give me a second.
Oh, he's got to pack your bowl, but there you go. Alrighty, getting bowls packed. We're having a bong hit here.
From Oakville. Okay.
From Oak.
So is how we do it. Here you
So
go, brother. Show it. Do Oakville
We
proud.
get people from all over the GTA and of course outside the GTA, obviously here at Vapor, on a consistent basis.
And you came down special for the show, I'm sure.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Shaka, brah. There we go. That was a nice hit. Nice clean bowl.
Right on. Well, they do it good in Oakville.
Good
Give
job,
him a hand.
buddy.
Give him a hand.
There'll never be a shortage of people be willing to come up and take bong hits at Vapor Central.
Well, it's good
Never.
to know.
You'll run out of weed before you run out of people.
Started
that'll
out a
come
little
up.
shy, but come on, folks. We don't. Can you bring me one of those, please? By the way. Thank you very much. Right on. Thanks. Oh, here, roll a joint here if you want too. I mean,
Maybe I will. Okay.
yeah, check out the Burmese. We brought it up, so
Yeah, I've
from
heard-
Vancouver Island, man. This something a little different flavor. No, I need a bong hit.
So I was lucky. I actually went out and lived on Vancouver Island. I guess
where?
it would have been 2000, 2001.
In Nanaimo?
No, I moved right to Courtney.
Oh, cartoony, huh?
My sister and her husband and their 2 kids lived in like Comox. It was like something even smaller than it was in the valley, but it was like smaller than the 3 big Courtney, Comox, Campbell River.
Merville.
No. But Aaron knows because the funny thing is after I started working here, I found out that my sister had a friend of hers that lived. I think it was a relative of Aaron's.
And
that
she
we found
made
out in the end.
moonshine up in the hills.
That we
and-
found out. So anyways, yeah, I moved out there and I lived in Courtney, and I ended up going to Comox to the marina there. And I ended up being a prawn and salmon fisherman, just going down to the marina, looking for work, trying to pay the rent and stuff like that. And go down to the marina to help haul and stuff, help wash and stuff, trolling for work.
Ice boat.
I ended up getting on a prawn boat. It would go out to the Queen Charlotte's from the tip of the Queen Charlotte's up to Alaska, dragging a net for prawns.
Oh, net draggers.
And then that was like from January to April, and then April to July or August we'd go run lines for salmon. So it was lots of fun.
Yeah, I worked on small troll boats, actually.
It was pretty
out of
small.
Yaklulit, but we were just A license, so it was just for salmon, trolling for salmon and ice boat, 10-day trips, and then we get back in.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was different. Coming from Toronto,
Well,
I'm originally from here. See, this is the thing,
Okay.
So if
Me
you
too.
didn't know, yeah, I was 20 years or so more. I don't know, 30 years. Moved away, started growing pot in BC, and it's kind of what we still
Hard
do.
to leave, I guess.
Amazingly, I'm still doing that.
Well, that shows your dedication and your skill, and You've obviously been making the right decisions, and congratulations. You definitely deserve a hand for doing that for 30 years for sure.
Well, thanks. Someone had to do it.
Yeah, and you know what? Someone did have to do it, and without people like you and Matt Mernagh and Marc Emery and Chris Goodwin, these people standing up and paving, and countless others.
Ian Hunter, the late Ian Hunter, and
so many people, and you of course know so many more people than I do. But
Marco Renda,
Michelle Rainey, rest in peace.
Michelle,
Greg Williams, Mark, who will be free in I think it's
2 years.
2 years now.
Yeah.
Like so many people, so
more or less. And and I encourage if Marc Emery, who's done so much, go to freemark.ca.
That's right.
You can get some information how to write him a letter. He would love to hear from you, and the info's there on what you can send. If you want to send him something like photos and newspaper clippings, there's some minor rules, nothing too serious. He'd love to hear from you. So, and also, it's the number one question I usually get asked in the supermarket at home. So how's Mark? So, if you're wearing a Free Mark shirt, a lot of people will come up to you and say, "Hey, how's Mark?" So tell them to go to the website freemark.ca, and you'll know exactly as much as I know about what Mark's up to.
Yeah, definitely.
Unless you happen to have a direct line to Jody, like I do.
Yeah, well, I'm lucky. I have the email with Mark.
Right on.
So I write him almost
regular correspondence
2-3 times a day almost. I've sent him the post game wrap up for every single Canucks game through Yahoo Sports since he's been inside. So he's had and other various Vancouver Canucks related. He's a huge Canucks fan, obviously everybody knows. So I've literally every single one I've sent him, and now that the Canucks are out, he thinks that the Kings have the best chance. He says unfortunate that the Canucks faced them in the first round, because he would have liked to have seen them in a conference final where the winner goes to the Cup. But that's the way he saw it. He thought it was going to be the Canucks and the Kings in the conference final, and that the Canucks would go forward. So he thinks the Kings definitely have the best chance of winning the Cup.
Well, they're showing pretty good right now.
They are, and he pointed out to me that there isn't a team in the Western Conference other than the Kings that's left now that has won a cup. The Kings, of course, won one with Gretzky, but other than that,
they've been there nonetheless. Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting cup final this year.
Yep. Well, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm sure Mark is
That's right.
as well.
And go to freemark.ca and write Mark, and he wants to hear about what you're doing to help end the war on drugs and to help end drug prohibition against marijuana. Tell him what you've been seeing and what you've been doing, because he really wants to hear about that stuff.
Far out. Okay, I'm going to have another contest. I need 3. Who wants to be in a contest? Some people who haven't played. Who wants to be up here? I need 3 people who haven't played yet. Win free marijuana.
Someone's going to win a nug. You got to come up and participate. Come on up.
Come on up, man.
We have a lady that's coming up here.
Right,
how many do we get?
All right, give the lady a hand. Yo. Got a couple of gentlemen right here. Look at this. All right, we got 3 people. What's your name?
We got 3.
T? Right on. Kevin, right on. When you're in. And Kevin. All right, well, we'll have to be Kevin 1 and Kevin 2. Okay. Were you guys at the Global Marijuana March on Saturday? Yeah. Were you there, T? No. Oh, you're going to be at a disadvantage then. All right. I want name. All right, here we go. Name at least 2 of the 3 mascots who are at the Global Marijuana March in Toronto. What's his name? What's his name? What's the Marijuana Leaf's name? All right. You can talk into the mic there, dude. And
well, just think about it.
What about it, man? Can you name 2 out of 3?
Oh man,
there was 4 there.
There was a couple of things walking around dressed up,
sort of like. So that's what if you guys can't do it, the question's going to go out to the audience. Whoever can come up here and tell me right away.
Okay,
There's
so
a guy right there. Come on up.
You've said one. So the first person who can come up and name 2 of the mascots from
But
the
you
GMM.
have to come
You
up and say it into the
mic.
microphone, not
Right.
yell it out.
Name 2.
So
Herbie and Bogman.
There we go.
there we go. You win.
Jamie, what? Here we go, James. Yeah, but you had to say 2
2.
of them.
There was Herb, there was Bogman, there was Boxman, and
Yeah,
and the man werepig. I was trying to wonder
and
what
that
his
guy
I
was
gonna call him
really
the
giving it
man
this
from
year,
Glad
wasn't he?
who was telling us about the man werepig.
All right, that's it, guys.
There was also
Yeah, that was
Boxman.
Elvis Mernagh.
There was Boxman.
Thanks, guys.
too.
That's it.
I mentioned, Boxman. Yeah, Bongman, Boxman, and Herb were 3 main mascots. Anyways,
Unfortunately, those guys didn't know who.
well, there's a disadvantage, so we just
But
that's
I
way
like the
it's done.
skill. I like, you had to be at the GMM and be paying attention to get that one.
There you go. That's what participation will get you. Free marijuana. So you just never know what'll happen. So next time, show up, take notes. You never know. There may be a test.
You should be prepared at least.
Yeah. You never know. What time is it? Oh, it's 8:19. What
It's
else?
getting late, eh?
It's getting late. Well, we could be getting near the end. Oh, I thought I'd tell you a story. We'll be writing about it. It'll be up on Cannabis Culture. But obviously, when I flew out here from Toronto or from Vancouver, I got on the plane with about 150 grams of weed, like I always
Very
do
nice.
when I travel, and I got my knapsack, my carry-on, and that's all it's in it is my weed and weed-related things. My medicine bag, as it per se. My medicine bag just happens to be a knapsack. Well, I wouldn't want to run out of weed.
No.
But for the first time in 12 years, I actually got jacked up at the airport, going through security, which is fine. I don't mind them checking out my permit and verifying this. But it doesn't take 5 RCMP to do this. So that's a little bit overkill.
Well, but for those 5, some of those 5 RCMP probably might have been the most pot they'd ever seen. So they might have just been there for the experience of the matter. And there's the amazing smell, I'm sure.
I think they're all just curious. And
Curiosity,
they've got
for sure.
absolutely nothing else to do all day. But so after much delay and me bitching and complaining, and then I finally pulled out my iPhone and started filming them. Which
They didn't.
No, that's the end of that. Once they start getting filmed, so it's
But-
all over.
But so what was the response to that? Just it ended up
They
nice and
just
quick
said
afterwards.
they said, "Oh yeah, okay, here
Okay.
you go. Here's your permit.
Like, as
go
the
away."
camera comes out, okay, here you go.
Well, that's why I went around the corner at that point and opened up my bags and stunk the whole place up. And I said, "Fuck you! I'm just checking to make sure
Everything's there.
Everything's there.
What you have.
Yeah. So there might have been some quick sleight of hand while you guys were, because they were all crowding around. I go, "What are you doing there? You're blocking my view. I can't see my medicine. Want to move? Excuse me." I was telling them to move and stuff. I made the other guy get me a chair. I want to sit down, and this is embarrassing. You guys should
The
just.
first time, I would have been like you, as well as bringing out the phone to be like, first I'm going to give my lawyer a call. And as soon as I hang up with him, then maybe I'll.
Well, I asked them. They said, "Do I need to call my lawyer?"
Do I need to call my lawyer? And my lawyer's instructing me to document.
Yeah.
But
Well, I said
what's
I was from
happening,
Pot
so.
TV, and I was with the media, and I'm with Pot TV, and I said, so I have to report this, so I made sure that I did. One of the things, what was the other thing I was going to mention about that? Been smoking a lot of good pot up here. It's been pretty good today.
There is great strains of weed around.
Oh, yeah, there's
And this
so
is
many.
good
Well,
Burmese,
Matt's
too.
Yoda, it was super tasty, and had
Very
a bag
much
of
so.
that. It was like, whoa. I think Matt's took off. He's not here. Is Dana still here? Or no, I think Dana left too.
I don't see Dana in the
Yeah,
back.
no, that's why he came up earlier, because I think he was going to head on out, and crowd's thin. Some in the back, I can see through the haze.
Yeah, it is.
It's a nice haze. I like the haze. It's a good haze.
It is a nice haze.
Yeah.
And then, of course, like in our comedy shows, I don't know if you stuck around last night, but our comedy shows are just a pure hot box in here. And we have comedians that don't necessarily smoke. And it's funny, last night, one comedian who came up and he's like, first of all, I just want to let everybody know that, I don't smoke weed. The whole room booed him. The whole room booed him. Everyone's
They
just
do
like,
now.
boo.
You do now,
He's
buddy.
like, well, this was that. They're like, but I'm high right now, and then everyone's like, ah. So it was really good. It was, we really have a lot of fun here.
Yeah, no, it seems like a
man.
good time, man. The whole place
Good
looks,
weed, good friends.
Like, seriously. Yeah, if you haven't been to Vapor Central here in Toronto at, was it 667?
667 Yonge Street. We're right next door to the Toronto Hemp Company.
Just
We're on
south
the second
of
floor.
Just south of Bloor Street.
Just south of Yonge and Bloor. That's correct.
You can get on the TTC. That stands for Take the Car.
Take the guy. There we
And,
go.
Come on down. There you go.
Right, Chris?
Right?
What happened to the system there?
Well,
This is
I've
a
been...
That
fatal
was
error.
Aaron's fault.
Was Aaron's?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She
That
didn't
sucks.
want to admit it yet.
Ah.
I'm ratting her out.
Did you hit the power button on the bar?
Yeah.
Oops.
Okay. Well,
I
accidents-
knocked out like
Accidents
5
happen.
things at
I
once.
remember there was
You
one
know,
time.
as a newly married man, these are the small things that you have to relish in. Do you realize that?
I smiled a little.
Take them while you can, because they're going to be few and far between.
Yeah, exactly. I still think it's my fault it went out, though.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
As far as she's concerned.
she's just
That's
very
right.
Nice.
Yeah.
She didn't want you to take the heat, so she took it.
He already knows the married
And
man
again,
answer.
congratulations, my friend. Yo.
Thanks, man.
All right. All the
And
best.
thanks for doing the show. We love that you're here and
Yeah, this is really
Well,
awesome.
supporting our
Paul,
crew and what we do and our little thing
Yeah, man.
here.
Well, you guys, there's that cross support. We're all working for the same, achieve the same goal and end
Yeah, man.
prohibition of marijuana, and so we can all be entrepreneurs and do our thing.
Yeah.
Really, I'd much rather have a couple acres and everybody could just fuck right off, so I could grow pot.
Sure.
There
and
we
you
go.
Could, and then I could supply your cafe, and you could sell it and do whatever you want.
I
we
love
could
the
have our own
trader
shit,
principle,
right?
and
Yeah, man. That's what it's all about,
absolutely.
Absolutely. That's where, utopian society.
And we are very close, although it doesn't seem like it. I love Dana's comments, 15 years ago as editor when he was saying stuff like that it never, in other civil rights movements, it never comes to be that it was a slow progression out. It almost got worse and worse up until the day it fell, whatever it ended up being, right? There's so many examples of that, and in some cases, it getting so bad at certain times is actually a product of our success.
Right.
That for every push we make, for the 20,000 people at the Global Marijuana March and all these things, they have to push back 20,000 hard, right? And that does seem bad when prohibition gets ramped up 20,000, but...
And they don't have those kinds of numbers, because
And
in
they
all
can't
my
keep up with
experience,
us.
there's just not that many people out there who are that upset or opposed to marijuana. And more people, like it's been pointed out, that
Yeah.
almost everybody, regardless whether they use or pod or what their stance is, they know somebody close to them who uses marijuana on a regular basis, whether it's a family member or somebody they just have an association with somewhere along the lines, and it doesn't bother them. So the acceptance is there, I feel. There's very little real opposition to marijuana, it seems.
Yeah,
and
we
I
find the same thing in
most of it
media.
is in with really young families with children.
Yeah.
And from strict church backgrounds like the evangelist church. That's the only people where you find strong opposition. And with a lot of young families, actually, once you try to get around and say, no, we want regulations and only adults can have it, then they soften right up. So it seems to be mostly in ideological based or, religious
They only
groups.
usually have a not in my backyard syndrome. So it is a strong
And
opposition.
that one as well, the NIMBYs case, yeah.
Yeah, the
sure.
NIMBYs. But
So as long as you say, no, that's why we want regulations, so we'll put that in our backyard, and you don't have to have that, obviously, in your, lily white picket fence, neighborhood, and that's what regulations are. If we had regulations, we would have that. So they should vote for it, and rather than have ones grow up beside them that they don't know about until it gets busted, wouldn't it be better to have a regulated system? If we can point that out to those people,
yeah.
that's how we gain converts. Because I always say it's not just legalize. It's like legalize, regulate, repeal prohibition. Let's get back to regulations. Let's have a sensible conversation about marijuana in the House of Commons, because that has never been done.
Mm-hmm.
It's time. It's way overdue.
That brings up other things, though. What are sensible regulations? And like a friend of mine, Bob Metz and Paul
One's
McKee.
based on science and evidence and fact. That's sensible.
Mm-hmm.
Not by conceived fears of what might happen,
See,
which is
normally I'm in favor
what
of
we
that.
have now. Oh, we can't have that because, well, wait a minute. We already have this, this problem or conceived problem where there's no control and it's just wide open and there's no tax revenue being paid or very little and so on.
Sure.
And in many cases they point out that who's in control? Well, criminals and kids. I know it for me in my 50s, I have a lot of friends of mine who get their pot from their younger adult children or their young adult children's friends.
That's right. That's
so, and they don't find a problem with that. But if I said, well, wait a minute, how about getting your prescription meds, or how would you like to get your liquor from the same source? They go, oh, no, I don't think that would be cool. So what's okay about getting your weed from these people?
That's right.
So there's no control. You see, this is what I'm trying to say. That's what legalize, regulate stands for.
Mm-hmm.
Regulations. Who gets to use it? Where? This would be obviously a great venue. This would be, a speakeasy, call it vapor lounge, call it what you want, but they'd be, that's a place that isn't using alcohol, they're using cannabis instead.
That's right.
And it's regulated. You get your weed, I be a grower, I pay a tax, you get the thing, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? It's just like it's like putting in your order for your liquor delivery, you get your weed delivery. So on and so forth, and everybody goes home happy. You don't let minors in at the door, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That's a well, not all that. All that is a regulated system.
Some of them cross over each other into areas I'm not so comfortable with, though. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Government should be there to arbitrate, necessary scientific, fact-based regulations. But they get into so much other social regulations and they create monopolies, and the regulations that forbid entry.
Well, they don't do a good job of when they do regulate. That's for sure. No, and I won't fight that. I agree.
Yeah.
They do a shitty job of regulating most, but at least once there's regulations, then we can say, you know what? There's a problem with this. Let's adjust that. Let's tweak it, and which we do. For instance, how we have liquor on Sunday sales
we
now,
don't like
right?
to talk
That's
about
like
it a lot in our
tweaked.
culture anymore, but there is still a big segment of the marijuana, people out there that still want it illegal. And not necessarily for the whole profit and what they actually, just on the regulation side of the argument, would say something to the effect of, as soon as we regulate it and tax it, the government's going to say no more than 5%, like beer. 5.5s and 7.1s will be an exception, like beer. 10%, 12% marijuanas won't exist, and they'll be regulated out.
We
and
have
it's better
different percentages of wine. And
beer,
beer,
and
so
then those will be considered hard cannabis.
Yeah, then you can get 35% Kush. Not that that's gonna 35 is unheard of.
I think that would be an easy one to take to court and fight and say, no, you can't. Because you're just growing a plant. I mean, and I think more so, better to regulate for a freer market. That's when quality is going to come into play, and better to have a selection, and you're going to have different price grades. For instance, really high-end stuff might be, say, oh no, that's medical only, and you need a prescription for that. For instance,
They very well.
right?
That could be part of the regulations.
That could be a model, right? But again, real simple. We discussed that and come up with, there's another
But
option.
again,
So
that's
we
where-
could have regulations could be.
But that's where regulations could be just as dangerous as prohibition, right? If all of a sudden everyone's smoking mid-grade weed, 5s and 10%, if they allow that kind of thing, and then super grades and tinctures, extracts, all these other things are forbidden, you'll have people still blowing themselves up, right? It won't be an area conducive to where people feel comfortable gaining entry into the marketplace and doing it openly enough where the equipment and the whatever is regulated.
Well, that's like where, like Dana says, why people need to, join a political party and get involved in the political party to start influencing, like the Liberal Party now, the young Liberals of Canada have influenced the fact that the Liberals are in such a low state that what they've been going after for many, many years finally has become a party resolution where, legal marijuana. So, I mean, there's a lot of different political reasons for that, but by getting involved and, going to meetings and trying to joining up with, your riding associations and trying to make motions, that's how we influence politics. So we need to elect people who are going to, we need to get involved. If everybody voted, believe me, these politicians would, if they'd be scared, they know exactly it'd be a different tune. 25% of the people elected Stephen Harper with a majority. That's just ridiculous. But that's from people not getting involved. And there's the fault. The fault is at our own. Lies at our own feet for not voting, really.
And those are big questions. I don't know if the current amount of choices out there are adequate, I guess. That's why we need to get involved in political parties. Of the choice. It's as if there is a choice. Even when you're voting conservative, liberal, socialist, whatever it may be, they're all, and Greens and others, they all end up voting the same. Liberal governments to conservative to others ramp up prohibition the same as the last one.
And writing letters, but again, to your MP and your MLAs or your MPP or whatever you have here.
MP and MPPs, yeah.
Yeah, we have MLAs.
It's strange that you have members of Legislative Assembly out west, and we have members of Parliament and members of Provincial Parliament.
Provincial Parliament, yeah. And we have a legislature.
I guess it's the old British and then, I don't know.
British Columbia, it must be.
Yeah, I guess.
Winnipeg's the same. So maybe it's once you cross the Ontario border.
I think it is.
You get your census to your side. I don't know.
Wait.
Oh, sorry. I'm in Toronto, right?
You're from Toronto.
I'm from Toronto, so I gotta defend Toronto.
Yeah. We do a little comedy too, right? To keep
we
light.
like to have fun here. Right? We like to have fun.
Cracking jokes is always good. It encouraged. All right, what time we got? Look at that, it's 8:35.
It was a great show, hour and a half on air.
Hour and a half.
5 minutes out.
Before a little bit of technical difficulties.
That's pretty good considering I'm in a foreign studio.
Yes.
Foreign environment now.
All different.
This is great. I absolutely love doing the show in this format. It works out awesome. And thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, Chris. It's just yo, brother. Once again, so good to come here. Thank you, man. Absolutely coming on the show.
Yeah, I love your show.
Fixing my computer.
I love watching your show. Yeah, that was
man in the chat.
Sean Brady fixed your computer for you, but I was in the chat and I had a great time doing it. I love your show, and it was awesome to sit on the stage with you. Thanks for coming out. It was really fun.
Well, we'll do it again. Hopefully, I'll be back in a couple weeks, and we'll stop in again and surprise remote. Ooh, surprise remote.
There we go. So
I should give away one more bud before we end the show. You think I should give away one more bud? How about people out here?
I might just.
Everybody think I should give away one more bud? All right. How are we gonna do this?
I don't know.
I'll do another wait. I'll do a wait.
No, there you go. Okay.
I'll just weigh a bud here, and then you guys figure out who wants to come up and play. Ooh.
We need two contestants to come up to the stage to try to win a nug. And if nobody comes up, and then it's just going to be open, even if you compete. Okay, so we got a girl. James DeReveldan, have you won anything yet?
No, I didn't play anything.
What about?
How about let's get two girls? I want to get two girls.
Two girls. Get out of here, Reverend Dan. No, that's mayor candidate.
Mayor McCheese over there. No. Oh, sorry, Matt. No. We'll give you an ugly. You've been smoking these nugs. You know what they're at.
Okay, girls.
All right, girls.
The final nug giveaway of the night.
This is a healthy nug. This is a big.
That's a healthy.
Nug.
Holy fuck.
This is a healthy nug.
It's a Christmas tree.
All right.
And his fingers right there, girls. So.
Can you get a good look at that, girls? I'll hold it up for you.
I know. They're like, can I get a scope? No, you don't need a scope.
No scope. No.
Okay, so.
All right. As always, since we passed to the left, what is your guess?
2.6.
2.6. And your guess is?
3.4.
3.4.
What did you say? 2.4 or?
I heard
3.4.
I heard 3. Brr, and the winner is, what is your name? Allie, you win. You're like 0.1 off, so there you go.
There you go.
Give her a big hand. 2.5, 2.5 gram.
Giving
bud.
away 2.5 gram nugs here.
2.5 gram
Opus
nugs.
Live at
On
Vapor
Opus.
Best
Central.
2.6. That's good.
Yeah, that was very close. Look at that. That's what I said. She's off by 0.1, by a tenth of a gram. You're off by a tenth of a gram. Give that girl a job as official, like,
Give
waiter.
her a hand at least.
Yeah. She could weigh out
Well,
my nugs
anytime you see
anytime.
somebody confused going, man, I need someone to eye this out.
There she goes.
That's the girl right there. She's sitting over there. If everybody's
Just for curiosity's sake, of course.
Of course. I wonder what she charges. She should probably charge a couple of lugs for doing the service too, right? You know. All right. What else? Oh, all right. I want to just give a couple shout outs. Who am I shouting? Shout out to Puff Mama's Bakery and the Killin' Time Band, Herb from Herb.ca. All the marijuana fairies at the Global Marijuana March in Toronto. Bongman, Boxman, Marco Renda, and all the people at Treating Yourself, Vape on the Lake. Who else? The Hot Box Cafe, Rocho Rama, and of course Vapor Central. These places all rocked. I had a great time visiting all of these great places here in Toronto, and seeing and meeting all you great people. So hey, this is awesome. I'll be back. Thanks for having me here, making me feel so welcome. It's awesome. Appreciate it,
man.
Thanks. Thank you.
We'll
We
do
got
it again.
exit music. Aaron's going to play, I'm sure.
Aaron, you're going to play us off here for sure, right on. Let's get
He
high, smoke pot, and as always, cultivate your freedom. Grow weed.
Peace.
Peace and pot.
Radio star, I hate on TV. My life is on film, yet it sucks being me. Sit down! My life's a wreck. I'm bored with sex. I've got a big nose and a skinny neck. I can't sing. I can't dance. I make money, talk about the junk in my underpants. I'm a tortured man. I'm a tortured man. I can't believe I am who I am. I'm a tortured man. I'm a tortured man. I can't believe I am who I am. Oh, you're not going to be stupid, you moron. Shut up! Sit down! Baba Booey.
Oh, that's good.
When Terry Hatcher was on my show, she came on to me. I was tempted to go. Heather Locklear, she thinks I'm great. I would bet my life I could get her on the first date. Courtney Love, Madonna, and Sharon Stone. I could get them all together and make each one own. Tammy, Raquel, Carmen, Patty, Demi, Abby Dummy. I'm a tortured man. I'm a tortured man. I can't believe I am who I am. My name and thoughts are immature. They say I'm great, but I'm not sure. My whole life sucks, each minute blows. This gangly body, this monstrous nose, this dopey ass, this tiny tween. No wonder I get on the air and act so mean. I wish my life were much more simple. I've got all working the size of a pimple. I'm a tortured man. I'm a tortured man. I can't believe I am who I am. I'm a tortured man. I'm a tortured man. I can't believe 10 times as much sex. It's an equation from hell.
Oh, that's
It's an equation from hell.
Oh,
It's an equation from hell.
oh, that's
It's an equation from hell.
Oh.
Maybe the room wants to win a Bob Marley album.
Yeah, reggae.
And I got a Bob Marley album to give away. You want to give away?
Oh, giving away. Oh, well, go. You have something you want to?
I got a Bob Marley 3-disc album. You want to give that away? Are we back?
Here, you want to take care of that for me, please, computer?
Brady, can you get this going, or?
Would you mind, please? Thank you.
I don't know his refresh
Somebody.
and all that.
It's almost too small for me to see.
I don't know.
It's just I can't. It's too small. I need somebody who's got good eyes.
So are we webcasting again? Technical producer Chris Brady. Brady.
Go ahead, Matt. What did you want? You want to give an album away to somebody?
Well,
Go
I got
ahead.
a Bob Marley 3-disc album. Oh, your password, and we should be good.
Oh, here we go.
I got a 3-disc Bob Marley album. Anybody interested in winning a Bob Marley limited edition vinyl record?
I see some hands back there. We got some players.
All right, those two guys in the back definitely want to play. Come on up, guys.
Come on up, guys.
I want someone who's going to play it, too. Come on up. You two guys back there, yeah. Red shirt boy and, last contest guy and red shirt boy. I know you better think of... What, the winner of the weed? Oh, here's the good... You're going to do that. It's the bud is right, but the consolation prize is going to be the vinyl. All right, so... No, come on, they're good. We're good. We can't...
Well, nobody else was jumping up, so
Nobody
I figure
else is,
it's not
besides,
a problem.
they can't judge Bud anyways. We just learned that last round. I don't know. So the second winner, the winner will get the Bud. The second place person will get the Bob Marley album.
Sounds good to me.
So one of
And
these
the
two
third
guys.
and the third place will get a sticker.
There you go.
Wait, how about can the first place get the choice between the Bud and the Bob Marley?
There you go. They get the choice between the Bud or the Bob.
Sounds good. First place
He's
gets
a little
choice.
pothead, man. I want to win that album.
Or the sticker.
I want the pod.
You got.
We're giving that record away again.
We got a Bud.
Another
We
one
got
tomorrow.
a sticker. We got a Bob Marley album. First place gets third choice.
This is like the Exodus dub mix and
All
no
right, what's the
women, no
question?
cry.
Oh, all right.
What's the question?
I got it. How much does this Bud weigh? To the left.
0.4.
0.4. 0.6. 0.8.
You're not allowed.
No. They don't get to feel it.
No feeling me.
No feeling it. Well, all right. Well, I guess, all right. It's between you two guys because it's 0.7. So you're going to have to. Yeah. So you got to say. Oh, hang on. No, hang on. No. I'm just going to pick a number from 1 to 10. Go ahead. No. 420, of course. 4.
He wants the vinyl.
He wants the vinyl. What do you want? You want the
I'll
Bud?
take the Bud. It's the only show where, like, I don't want the Bud, man. I want the vinyl.
I want the sticker. All right, thanks for playing. We're going to do this again in a short bit. Yeah.
And we'll have more vinyl to give away tomorrow on the Mernagh show, so you got a chance.
There you are.
Got a chance. Limited
Excellent,
edition.
excellent.
I'm almost done. I'm going to go home and get some rest and take a shower and stuff.
I got a pen here if anyone wants from 5 Star Tattoo Company in Port Alberni.
Let's skip that. We're talking about our defenses. A lot of our witnesses have had to try narcotics, and they're far more harmful than marijuana. And there is that sort of stigma in the medical marijuana regulations that say marijuana is treatment of the last resort. We're suggesting that it's treatment. It shouldn't have to be last resort. Do you need to be hooked on narcotics and not phonics before you get a chance to use medical marijuana? And so that's the idea. And we're trying to convince the judges that there is a stigma out there, that that's the reason doctors don't want to be involved, and we're trying to tell them, like, one of our points in that they sort of missed on is that There's a lot of letters up until 2005. They make the changes and then suddenly they're silent. They no longer talk to the Canadian Medical Association. All the data we get nothing from them. Our suggestion is that Health Canada quietly told them, stop talking to us because some asshole's going to go to court, strike down the marijuana laws, and sue you guys.